All right, get ready to live stream. This one for YouTube, I don't have to type anything in, but so let me see when it comes up. With Facebook, I have to type in a description and everything, but YouTube, it just like throws you right in. All right, we are live, folks. Oh boy, and I always do that.
Yay.
Echo. All right. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's GenX Book Club. This month's, all right. We forgot we do this monthly now. I'm Paul Stressner, along with me, Del Rayling
Hello.
and Suzanne Mataboni.
Hi there.
And yeah, we're doing something a little different this month. We went with a short story collection, Skeleton Crew, and yeah, we did it on purpose because the movie The Monkey was coming out, which is the monkey is actually on the cover of Skeleton Crew. So, thought it'd be a good idea to be fun, something different, and have some short stories to talk about. And then we all went to go read it. We found out it was 640 pages.
Surprise.
I don't know
I
why I should be surprised because I had the book. I actually had the hardcover book maybe like in the 90s. So I did own it at one point, and I must have given it away or something in one of my moves. But yeah, I didn't realize it was
yeah, when I
that
when I
long.
pitched it to you, you were like, "Hey, sounds great, short stories." And yeah, and then we found out.
Yeah.
But luckily the
Short
good
is
thing.
relative.
Yeah. Yeah, short story, but yeah, the one that was like the biggest culprit that we're covering, that was, I think it was probably longer than Diane Franklin's books, and that's just like one short story.
Yeah, for the first story.
Yeah. But I do
What?
remember when I first read it, when I first read the book, that The Mist was the one that really stood out to me. So yeah, and I really enjoyed it the first time I read it. So thought that would be a great idea. But the good thing about doing these short stories is we were able to we were able to pick and choose which ones to cover since we're not gonna get to the whole thing. So yeah, so it worked out.
Mhm. I actually read like 240 something pages, which, like you're saying, that's a lot longer than the memoirs that we've been reading. So,
Mm, yeah.
but when you look at like the table of contents that goes from here to here, I read like that, like in three stories, because the first one is a 150-page novella. So,
Yeah. Yeah, there's 22 stories in the book, so yeah.
yeah,
Well, and
so
as I told
still
both
feel
of you
inadequate.
earlier, as I told both of you earlier, I've not read The Mist yet, and I thought I had this great idea that I'll just go to the audiobook because I found it at the library, and it was 4 hours to get through The Mist, and I thought I'd have it done in like 45 minutes. So that's what I sent you a text and I said
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. Sorry. So I will go back and read it. It was interesting what I got through of it, but yeah, it was basically a book.
Yeah. And yeah, Suzanne, I think I got about the same amount. I think the last one I finished was The Jaunt. Did you read The Jaunt yet? Did you get to that?
I don't think so.
Oh,
And
okay.
I skipped around and read
Oh,
different
all right.
times.
Okay.
Or did I? I don't know. Let me I'd have to double check and look again. But yeah, because there was one like there's a poem in there. There's or something, or maybe it's like several pages that are written in verse. So let's see.
All right.
No, yeah, that's like where I stopped. I got to Mrs. Todd's shortcut,
Okay,
which
yep.
I thought was really a cool story. But then I
Yeah.
think I did jump ahead and read the one that was done in verse.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It, and
Paranoid Chance. Yeah.
Paul, I know you did some research on this, but what I saw, it looked like most of these stories he'd already written and published in some way. Is that
Oh,
what
yeah.
you saw also?
Yeah. It was like over 2 decades worth of work that he had done, from the 60s and stuff. He before he was, you know, writing novels, yeah, he was writing short stories and submitting them to magazines, and that's where these came. And this was the Skeleton Crew was published in 1985, and it's his second short story collection after a night shift.
Mm.
Hmm.
And this was like after he had written, you know, Carrie, Cujo, Salem's Lot, all those big ones. So he was really at the height of his popularity when this came out. So he was already well known when he published. So he put all his works together, and
Mhm.
I, was it in the opening when he was talking about this book? I think he was saying how was this the one where somebody was saying that he wasn't going to make any money for publishing one of the stories.
Yeah.
Who's laughing now?
Mm.
Besides us. I think I
Yeah.
read Night Shift back in college. I think I read the first collection.
Hmm.
Uh, but in general, with short story collections, that's the path that you take, is that the stories are written and then they go into magazines, and that gives them some credibility, and then you get your whole collection together. And well, these days, I think they want you to have more a certain amount of unpublished stuff in there, so that people can't just, because you can find stuff online so easily, and
Right. Hmm.
and and everything. But yeah, so that makes sense then, if this a lot of this stuff had already appeared in different magazines and things. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't read
Yeah.
the intro. There was so much, so much to read as it was. I was like, I'm skipping this. What is that's another like 10 pages. I'll
Yeah.
read it
Yeah.
later. I will.
Yeah. Yeah, you should, because it was really interesting. It was really good. Yeah. Yeah. And when like I said, I used to have the hard copy when I belonged to the Stephen King book club, and so every month I would get a book of his, and it would go in order of when he published them. But then if he had a new book come out, then I would get that at the time.
Mhm.
So so that's when, like, yeah, so it's the night was when Dolores Claiborne came out, so the Renegades or something like that. Desperation. Yeah, so
So
Did
are
you
you
pay a penny?
saying,
Did you pay a penny for your first book? Is
it
that
probably
how it worked?
was, yeah, and
Yeah.
I got a skeleton keychain.
Right.
oh yeah.
That's how they got you. One
Yeah.
penny. Yeah.
Now, are you
Sorry,
saying
Suzanne.
that you have some of the original paperbacks? Because I'm hearing that a few of them are worth a lot of money.
No, I think I
I
lost
mean,
them.
hardcovers.
Yeah, I think I lost them when I was in my move. When I moved,
Hmm.
several times, I might have donated them, or there was one move where friends of ours were helping us move, and then they took a case of my books.
Oh man.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I might have still. I don't think I have any from back then, but I mean, they might have been reprints, but they had when I got them, they were the original covers, so it was pretty cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed that.
That's
And
cool.
that was when I was in college. I was at home, working part-time and stuff, so I had time to read all that. So
Hmm.
not so much these days, but um, but I do remember The Mist was like a big standout for me. I really loved that. And then I had totally forgotten everything that happened, so it's like reading it for the first time again this time. That was this the first time you guys had looked into this?
Yeah, I'd never even heard of it. I didn't even know there was a movie out about it.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't read it. I don't know if I even heard about this more recent movie. I seem to remember like maybe a television version
I just found out
a
about that
long
now.
time ago,
Hmm.
and I might have watched a little bit of it, but I don't think it was very great quality. And I think they
No,
changed a lot.
The TV
Made
version
it a
of
diner or something
the
of the
the
mist.
Mist.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was a TV series in 2017. It was on for one season, but I just found I literally just found out about it, or I might have tried checking it out. But
So so there's a TV series and a movie?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. The
When did the
movie
movie
came
come
out,
out?
2007.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm
Okay.
remembering something from a long, long time ago,
Oh,
but
all right.
maybe I don't know. It was a while ago. It's fuzzy,
And
but
Suzanne,
being
you
that it's missed,
did you say you found it on Amazon or some one of the streaming services?
I think I found it on yeah, the more recent, the 2007 movie,
Oh, okay. Okay.
right? If I've got
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
straight.
Yeah, I got it on some free app. I can't remember the name of it. I never heard of it before. Yeah, but yeah, I have a Roku, and I did a search, and the only place I could see it was free was on this app that I had never heard of. But there was commercials, but it was the full movie and everything. So yeah, so you can see it, and Stephen King did approve of it, and it was Frank Darabont was the director, and he also directed The Green Mile. He directed a couple of Stephen King
Oh,
ones.
okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Shawshank Redemption. So he directed Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile and The Mist. So
Hmm.
that
I
that
see. Yeah, that I guess that goes to I still I'm not happy with him with that ending. I am quite upset.
All right, yeah. So yeah, we can get
Just
into
say what the ending is already. What
Oh
happened?
boy. Well, why don't we talk about the film
yeah.
and then
So
we can kind of get to the ending. I don't want to do that first.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And it was the thing that really struck me. Well, besides how close it was with the book, I mean, there was a lot of the same
It was.
dialogue that was in the book and
Yeah,
everything.
absolutely. I was surprised too that
Hmm.
they were so in line with the actual dialogue and discussions that went on. So
Yeah, yeah. Um, and like the cast was incredible.
yeah,
Well, I don't know what I had seen. Thomas Jane sounds familiar, and I don't know if I've seen him and seen any of the movies. He was the star in this. He was David,
yeah,
the main character. Yeah, I don't know if I've seen any other movies he was in, but I do know his name. And Marsha Gay Harden was freaking
yeah.
incredible in
Her
this.
she's the only person I really recognized. And as far as the casting, yeah, she was
Yeah.
terrific, but it really wasn't much what that character was supposed to look like.
Hmm.
That she was like a much younger version of Mrs. Carmody. So,
Yeah, but she
but
had the
she
same
definitely pulled it
spirit.
off. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
exactly.
Yep. Well, Andre Brower was in it too. He was the
Hmm.
David's neighbor. He's Norton, Brett Norton. Um, oh, you might not, if you didn't watch The Walking Dead, maybe that would explain why you didn't know some of these people because there was like a half of the Walking Dead cast was in this.
All right, no, I haven't watched that.
Laurie Holden, she's the one who played Amanda. Um, you know, the blonde girl that was with David there. Oh, I wouldn't have known his name, but Toby Jones. He's like one of those character actors that when you see him, you know him. He's been in so many things. He played
Oh
Ollie
yeah, yeah,
Weeks. Yeah, he's like
yeah,
Oh
think
yeah.
he seems like a smaller guy. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the way he looks or but yeah. What was he in?
He
yeah. I
was
Uh,
think
he
he
was
is.
in the most recent Indiana Jones movie.
yes.
The opening scene.
Yep. Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Uh,
Yeah, he was in one of the earlier Marvel movies
oh
where
yeah, the
he
Captain America one. Yeah.
Captain America, right. He was
Yeah.
wasn't he like a scientist or something at the beginning of the movie
Yeah.
and he like was somehow incorporated into a program or I don't know, it was weird, but
Yeah.
I think I do remember him from there.
Yeah. He was basically the Red Skull's henchman in that, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think he was in one of the was yeah, he might have been was he in one of the others? I don't know. See, William Sadler, he's been in a bunch of stuff. Um, Jeffrey DeMont, he was the older guy with the beard. He was in The Walking Dead. He played Dale in The Walking Dead, so people know The Walking Dead.
Oh.
Um, and she had a very small part in it. Oh, let me see. Melissa McBride, she's like one
Oh
of the most
yeah.
popular Walking Dead people. So
Carol, right?
Carol, yep, yep,
Hmm.
yep. So she had a small part in the movie as well. Um, Frances Sturhagen, I always know call
Oh
her
yeah.
Cliff Cleveland's mom, even though she's been in a million things. Every time I say, "Oh, it's Cliff Cleveland's mom."
That's funny.
uh,
But
oh
yeah, yeah, I've seen her in a lot of roles
yeah.
that woman.
Oh, Sam Witwer is awesome too. He was Private Wayne Jessup. He was one of the army guys. That wasn't in the I don't think he was in the book, but I like it. He's like a Gen X guy. He's like our age, but he was I knew him from Smallville and he's been involved with Star Wars. Oh, he's a Battlestar Galactica. Um, yeah, Supergirl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you seem to be recognizing a lot more people than I did. All I recognized was Marcia Gay Harden, but they did a good job. So you know, oh, and Andre Brower, I knew him, but
yeah,
otherwise they were kind of new faces to me, which is maybe good for for the
yeah,
purposes of the the fiction, I guess,
yeah.
fiction of the story. So
Right, yeah. But yeah, it's an ensemble cast. And yeah, at the time, yeah, nobody would have known hardly any of them anyway. So yeah, yeah. So it really was interesting. Um yeah, there was like a storm and then the mist followed and I can't remember in the book, did it have were they driving by all the I think in the movie it was the army guys were driving by all of them when they were going to the supermarket, they were like speeding by. Uh
yeah, they made that a little clearer, I think, in the film than
yeah.
in the movie. It was kind of like, ooh, we would talk about the Arrowhead Project, and people used to talk about, things that went on, and supposedly it's like seemed like years in the past, and then they just
Mm,
like revisited it or something. But
yeah.
I think that they spelled it out a lot better in the film. They wanted to make that part clearer, and that's
Hmm.
probably why we got more from the army guys. The the one army young whatever he was like a recruit who was just
Hmm.
going to be shipping out with them was a bigger part, and he did a lot of that exposition about what was going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I don't think there were any army guys in the book that I remember.
um, they were the two that they found in the storeroom. Like we didn't get to know them. I
Uh-huh.
don't even remember hearing about them until they found them
Oh,
hanging.
okay.
Like,
Hmm.
but there was at least the reference that these guys did something, knew something really, really terrible
Hmm.
happened. But that's about it. That we're just kind of that there for that purpose of, letting us know that this was government related and something really bad is happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, so they were all out of power and everything, and then the David and his son. Oh, geez, my mind went blank on the son's name. Um,
Billy. His name was
yeah,
Billy.
yeah, they went to the supermarket, and then yeah, then the mist just like came in and engulfed the whole area, and the and they described the scene when they were in the back dock area, that the way they described it in the book was pretty much exactly how I pictured it if that
Exactly.
was in the
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, yeah. Where they were arguing. David had heard a noise out there and they were saying, "Oh, he's crazy," whatever. And he's telling them not to open the door because I think it was something with the generator. They had to start the generator or something to get
Mm.
power. They open the door, and then one of the kids, a creature, grabs one of the kids. Yeah, described it in quite detail in the book. They did a pretty good
Yeah,
job
that
in the
I had
movie.
mentioned when to decide whether I even wanted to watch the movie, I had just read that scene.
Uh,
And so I found it on Prime and I just fast forwarded to that scene. I was like, let me see how they did this.
uh,
And it was like so spot on. In fact, and I don't know that I've ever said this about any movie, even The Shining, but I think with the visuals and stuff, it was even more frightening to watch
yeah.
the film
Hmm.
than reading it, that's quite an accomplishment if
Yeah.
you can make the movie scarier than Stephen King made the book. So,
Right. Yeah. And that must be why Stephen King liked this. 'Cause
yeah,
he's pretty well known to criticize the movies that they adapt from his books and stuff. So, well, at least in the early '80s. But yeah. So even after that guy got killed, and they had to decide whether to tell the people or not. Yeah, and even after that happened, oh yeah, it was his neighbor that he was trying to like talk into, telling the people because they believe him, but he didn't believe David, and even if there was they got like a piece of the tentacle of the creature that grabbed the kid because they closed the door on it, so they had a piece of even with that like even when he sees the physical proof, he didn't believe it. Oh, this is fake. He'd make it trying to make a fool out of me.
Yeah, he was stubborn, that guy.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
And that's when you know he's a red shirt, right? Do you watch it all the time?
all
That's
right,
when you
yeah.
know he's gonna be a red shirt, like in Star Trek.
Star Trek,
It's like
yeah.
that's it. It's gonna be the first to go.
uh yes, I don't know how far like into this we want to get, but as far as like comparing to real life, because you see that a lot today, like with people like denying things. Like it's so funny how this seems ahead of its time. This was published way back then, and it still could apply today. I mean, look at the pandemic and stuff, and global warming, and you have all this proof, and then people still, willfully, denying it, saying, fake news, or and um and then you see this taking place here. So it's Stephen King is, you know, known to be he's gotten banned from Twitter and stuff back in the day. So he's been known to be outspoken politically. So there's definitely undertones of that I was picking up. I don't know about you guys. You picking up like some, yeah.
I kind of got a little bit of a COVID-19 vibe. And
Hmm.
obviously, there was no such thing. This was, decades and decades ago. But
Yeah.
still, the idea that, all right, here's this plague that's coming, and is it is it natural creatures? Is it the government involved?
Hmm.
Was this created and it got out of hand, which definitely became part of the storyline.
Yeah.
Uh, and it also felt very like Stranger Things to me. Like, have you watched
Yeah.
Stranger Things?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Where they,
Yeah.
a little government compound out there somewhere that they're experimenting with, with people. Because at first I thought maybe these were mutated creatures.
I was thinking the same thing, like a nuclear thing, like a Godzilla type of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. And there's a Godzilla reference too. I mentioned that when I
Hmm.
posted. 'Cause my son was big into Godzilla, so I kind of have a
Uh-huh.
big background in Godzilla history. But I was thinking the same thing, that these were mutated creatures, like some kind of mutation factory, and they had gotten away. But they, at least in the film, they were more specific as to what the guy from the army said was going on up there.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
So,
a little more
Is this
supernatural.
is this story similar to The Stand? Since I didn't read it, are there any similarities between the two? Because
it's been a while since I read
okay,
that.
I
Can't
don't know
remember.
if you
Well,
remembered that or
how
not.
far did you get? Like, what do you think of that? Have you read The Stand?
I haven't read The Stand. I saw the miniseries when that was out in like the early '90s,
Hmm.
but there was like some government involvement there. I think that's where the virus started, and then it, cascaded from there.
Yeah, I might say, I mean, because Stephen King does kind of repeat his not so much the themes, but structure maybe. Like,
Hmm.
I didn't think of it until you said that, but it's more kind of, the stand was divided into sanctions, where you had the people who were like people on the good side, and then the
Mhm.
people on the bad side, and everybody thought that they were right,
Right.
and started, convening. I kind You kind of got that, a little microcosm of that in this
Yeah.
supermarket,
Hmm.
where
Yeah.
there was the people were following Mrs. Carmody, who is kind of a demented religious fanatic,
Hmm.
and then the people who were trying to be realists, and then the ones who were just like, I'm walking out of here, and
Yeah.
so they kind of created their own little nations, and in trying to deal with what was going on. So
Yeah, the different
in that respect,
factions.
maybe,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what convinced everybody with Norton ended up taking his flat earthers or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Did he give them that term too? I think that's what David was calling them in his head. But and then they
Yeah.
So they wanted to prove them wrong, so they took their little group and went outside, and then you could hear like screaming, and none of them did one of them come back like hurt or something, and then got killed, or I can't remember now.
Well, it depend that was a little different in the book as well. It was a little sorry, the TV the movie was a little gorier in a lot of
Hmm.
respects, and I think
Yeah.
this was one moment. Recall that one of the guys who went out with the flat Earth people, and I don't know that he was so much a flat earther as he was just like, I'm going to try to get to my car.
Right. Hmm.
Um, they gave him a clothesline that was
Yeah.
like 300 feet, so they could know how
That's
far
right.
they got before, and the clothesline came back like tattered and bloody, etc. And
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
film it came back with like just his legs.
Yeah, it's just legs. Yeah, his lower
it was
body.
it was
Yeah.
horrible. It was horrifying, but it was much more graphic than the scene was that was
Yeah.
written.
Yeah.
So
That's right. Yeah. So then everybody believed that there was something out there.
yeah.
And again, I was just thinking it was just like that one creature out there with all the tentacles. So,
Yeah, at least that there is a lot of tension as far as you don't know what the heck is going on any more than the
mm,
people in in the book. They don't really give you hints. And so I made up like 17 different reasons why these things were happening on my
mhm.
end. And each theory got shut down the longer we
Yeah.
got through the book.
Oh, so
So
funny. We did the same exact thing. Yep. Yep. Um, yeah. So interesting. Yeah, so then that's when the faction started. Then Mrs. Carmody like took advantage of that because she was like thriving in that, getting she was yeah, like I said, like an extremist and um God is bringing hell on them for, punishing them and stuff, and she was, acting like a crazy preacher, and slowly like more and more people were, you know, joining her congregation, so to speak.
yeah, yeah.
And I think yeah,
Would
even
anybody let anybody leave?
hmm yeah, yeah. And even in the story that he was even describing how she might have even started like looking younger, like she was really like getting off on this.
Yeah, well, in the book, she was more like she was an older character, and they described her as like kind of weak. And by the end of her run there, they said like her hair was like gray, crazy.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
really sounded like she was turning into the Medusa witch of the
All right.
of the
Yeah.
West. So
Yeah.
that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. And then oh yeah, then after that, that's when then it was nighttime, and then all of a sudden like these giant bugs were smashing up against the glass.
Yeah, that was really creepy.
Yeah, yeah. So that's another one that seemed to be more intense in the movie than in the book. Yeah. Because
When
yeah,
those things get into the supermarket.
yeah, yeah. Because I don't think that many got into the supermarket in the book, but
Right,
yeah, in the movie they were
right.
like it was smashing in the glass, and then they were shining the lights on it, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? They're like having
Yeah,
of course
I
they're
know.
like drawing them in.
Like the moths are coming to they're all like, "Oh, put
So
the
shine
lantern
more
up,
lights, yeah.
yeah, that buddy, come on,
Yeah,
common sense here."
that was insane. And then if that wasn't bad enough, they were just basically the bugs, and then also these giant like crazy looking birds came in to eat them, and they had like these crazy
Yeah,
beaks
like
and everything.
that
And, yeah, they were breaking the
pterodactyl
glass.
looking things,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
set it on fire, and it's flying around, and it's hitting light fixtures, and yeah, there was a lot more chaos. I mean, it's pretty horrible. One of those, even to describe the one coming in, and it killed one of the guys,
Yeah.
and then it was set on fire and it died. But there was several of them and a bunch of bugs in the film,
Mhm.
and one of the bugs got the
A babysitter or whatever.
yeah, the babysitter slash cashier,
Hmm.
who then swelled up like like she was going to explode and died. And the bugs they're like whacking them with tennis rackets
Tennis
and
rackets,
brooms,
yeah.
and they're all
Mhm.
over the place. It was much more chaos. It was much more frightening
Yeah,
chaos going
yeah.
on. So
And then was it Cliff Clavin's mother that had come up came in with a makeshift blowtorch with a raid and and the fire.
Yeah, she was a kick-ass woman.
Yeah,
It really in both, but especially in the book, I think.
yeah, yeah,
Out of all those men that were there, she was the one who stood up and like
yeah.
killed the creatures and went with them on the expedition and
Hmm.
made it
Yeah,
sort of to the end, sort of.
yeah. Adele. But but there was a one of them was somebody was injured and they had him in the back. So then they realized, oh, there's a pharmacy next door. So they decided to go next door and try to get like all the drugs that they could to, to help anybody that's been injured and stuff. And I think that was crazier in the movie too, with all the it's
Yeah.
basically all spiders and they because they had left the in the I think in the book they described that they had left the door open to get air in there, and because they did that, all
Mhm.
the creatures were able to get inside, and
Yeah.
they go in and they see people like basically mummified in these crazy
Yeah,
spider
shades of
webs.
Alien with the people
Mm,
hanging and things
brushing it
bursting
out.
out of them.
Yeah. There's giant baby spiders. They shoot these webs, and like if you got hit with a web, that would you'd gone and it
Oh
basically like
yeah.
burned you. Yeah,
Yeah, the webs were like acid.
yeah,
See, that was creepy. Now that was
mhm,
Stephen King. That was a creepy idea.
yeah, yeah. And they made, yep. Then they not all of them made it back in back to the supermarket, but some of them did.
Yeah,
Uh,
some not all.
yeah, and then
But the lady with the raid can, she was all over.
yeah, yeah. She kicks some ass. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was one thing that you in the middle of the story you got a sense, and they kind of confirmed it that they weren't these crazy supernatural creatures so much as they were organic beings. You could kill them, they bled, they died. They weren't just these immortal beings that were just gonna destroy everything in their path. I mean, they kind of did to a certain extent because of the size difference, the
Yeah.
size differential. So, but at least you figured at that point they had a fighting chance because these things
Hmm.
could die
Yeah.
and they could at least spear them and burn them and whatever they needed to do.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I think it was at that point too when they were in pharmacy because then one of the guys that was all wrapped up in the web that was dying, he kind of gave it away that I think he said something
Yeah,
that
it
it's
was
their
us.
fault.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it was us. It was our fault. Something. Yeah, something like that.
So then
Because
they
he was an MP. He was a military police
yeah, yeah. And
guy.
I don't think they said that in the book though. So
No, see, I was wondering, you're confirming things because as I'm watching the movie, I'm saying, was that, did they make that admission? Was this guy? No, it's true. They didn't.
yeah.
They showed you that those two MPs killed themselves early,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
they didn't confirm anything, you know? They didn't take responsibility for anything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So then, yeah, so then they started grilling, Sam Witwer there, the only guy that was left. Yeah, because I think in the
That poor
movie,
guy.
because it was him and the two other MPs that were in the supermarket, and then after
Mm.
that, then they found the two that had hung themselves in the back room. Um, yeah, so then they started grilling him about asking what happened, and so I think he eventually admitted it, and and what happened next? And then crazy lady decided, oh, they're gonna need to
Yeah.
sacrifice somebody.
Yeah, they tossed him out. She got her crowd all whipped up and they tossed him out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a gruesome scene too
Ugh,
in the
yeah.
movie. Yeah. Um, and then yeah, we're getting towards the end here. Then they decided to David and his crew decided they were they were just stuck there, so they needed to do something. So they decided to chance it and go to the try to make it to the
Mm.
car and Yeah, some of
See,
that was same as the book when they went to the.
till the very end.
Yeah, yeah.
Until the very end. I kind of felt when I read it, like maybe Stephen King just got tired and didn't want to. Got like it was supposed to be a longer novel, and he didn't want to go on for the another 150 pages. He was just like,
Right.
okay, I guess this is good enough. We'll say that then that David tells them, oh, this is not going to be the kind of book or the kind of story where the National Guard pulls up and everybody gets rescued. It's going to be a vague ending like the Twilight Zone.
Hmm.
And I don't know what's going to happen. And he said a couple of things about hope and blah, blah, blah. And that was the end.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they went to like a hotel and stuff, didn't they? Yeah, I think they ended up in a hotel in the book and
Yeah, like
stuff,
Howard
and
Johnson's.
yeah, trying to wait things out, whatever. But then now here you go, Dell. Now we're getting
What's good?
that and
The end?
the movie I think the movie kind of takes off from there.
All right.
So that
So do
they're
I get to go ahead?
Yep, so they must have went back in the car after that because I think this director decided to continue the story after that. And they, so it was David, his son, the girl Amanda, who he had sex with in the book, but they didn't in the movie that I
Yeah,
know
they
of.
skipped that in the movie.
And then the two older guys, Cliff Clavisweather and then the Dale from Walking Dead. I'm just calling by the names from the other things I know him from.
Okay. I was just like, Raid Lady and that other old guy.
Yeah, so they were in the car, they were like driving and driving, and there was no end to the mist. So this mist was like going on forever. And then they ended up running out of gas. And you see all these creatures like walking around. It was like dinosaurs and stuff. And by now we find out that it wasn't a radioactive thing. They actually came from another dimension or something. So that had to do with what the military was working on at the base there. Yeah, so they ran out of gas before they made it to the end, and then let's see
Yeah, they had.
were they gonna stick it out and wait for it to subside, or I mean, David did have this gun with some bullets in it.
Yeah, which they did make a reference at some point, I think in the book also. All right, I've got enough bullets, if anything terrible happens for everybody but me, and I'll figure out something for myself.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, because they might have had enough, but then when Ali was the one that he was on had the gun, and then when they make it to the car, and then the creature got him, and then I think a
Yeah.
shot went off, and then yes,
He was brave though.
yeah,
He
yeah.
died bravely that one.
That that was another scene that was intense in the movie too, where he went when he saw the gun, but we didn't know, and then he's opening the car when all these creatures around to go out, and it was to get
Oh
the
yeah.
gun. But in the book, he said that he knew what he was doing, but like in the movie, you're like, what the hell is he doing? Is all the
Yeah.
gun? So he grabbed the gun and brought it back in the car.
No, no, no. But at this point, I wish he left it. But
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we'll just rip the Band-Aid off. Then it shows the car in the distance, and all of a sudden you hear um five gunshots, or was it four? I can't remember how many people were in the car. One, two, yeah, so it
yeah.
would have been four, maybe. Yeah. And you see the
Mhm.
flashes, and then it goes back in the car, and you see he killed his son, Amanda, and the two other people in the back seat. But there wasn't that he was trying to kill himself, but there was no bullets left. So like Mercy killed everybody, and he couldn't kill himself. And then so then he's like, all the help that he got out of the car so the creatures could get him. And then all of a sudden you hear these trucks coming by, and it was like all the military people were coming to the rescue. So,
That was the most horrifying freaking ending I think anybody could conceive for these poor people.
yeah.
They made us follow them through this whole torturous adventure so he could shoot everybody, and then the trucks come to rescue them.
Yeah.
including his son. He shoots his son.
Son, yeah, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm that really upset me. I just could not. And then especially because Stephen King specifically said at the end of the story, this is not going to be a story where the National Guard come and rescue us. And
Mhm.
that's what they freaking did in the movie. And he's sitting there watching the trucks go by and he's screaming. There's like now blue sky in the background. The mist
Yeah,
has
yeah, the
receded
square. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the world is going to go on.
Hmm.
And he just killed everybody that he might have, had some kind of relationship with.
Yeah, yeah,
It was just horrifying.
yeah,
That was just terrible.
yeah. Oh, at the beginning when it first started happening, when they knew the creatures were out there, the one that played Carol in The Walking Dead, she left the store. Everybody's telling her not to go, but she wanted to get home to her kids because she had two young kids. And one of them had some kind of disability or something, and the daughter was watching, and the daughter was only 8, and then the kid was like 3 or
Yeah,
something
she
like that. It
left her
was
kids
ages like that.
alone.
Yeah, yeah. So she's like, oh, she can't leave. So then she left, and everybody's telling her not to leave. So you think that she's dead, but then this caravan has come by with all the military, and she's on there with the kids. So
Yeah, yeah. So it's like he then becomes like the bad guy.
yeah.
Like that's just this ending just like was ridiculous. I protest. I protest the ending because then he's the one who led people to their deaths, and meanwhile, everybody else in that supermarket is going to be saved. Obviously,
Right. Yeah.
if no more bugs get in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just
Oh yeah, I
no
should also point out
hard
that
no from me. No.
I forgot to mention that Ali took care of Mrs. Carmody there too. He shot
Oh
her.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
because
shot her.
she was getting really, really out of control. Oh
Well,
yeah, I think she wanted to
he
kill
wouldn't let them
the
leave.
kid. Yeah, yeah. Well, she wanted to sacrifice the boy too, so yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That was the last straw for them.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean. Now
Well,
she was kind of right. If they
yeah.
all waited it out, and they would have lived.
Well, minus the sacrifices. That was
Yeah,
unnecessary.
that's true.
Oh,
That's
hey,
true.
maybe that works. Maybe the sacrifice of the
Yeah, that's
military
what it
guy
was.
worked.
That saved him. That poor MP. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was this was yeah, I really yeah. If you want a good scary movie, I would recommend that. That's one of the better Stephen King ones, better Stephen King adaptions, I think.
It was. It's hard to
Yeah.
adapt him,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think. He's just too intense. He does everything too effectively.
Yeah.
So it is really hard to get something to be as scary as the way he creates it. So, but they did, and then at times it was scarier and
Even
gorier. So
scarier.
that's
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So tip of the
Yeah.
hat to like watch it right until the end, then turn it off.
And then Stephen King actually said, "Oh, I wish I thought of that." So he
No,
loved it. Yeah, he loved that. Yeah,
oh wow. I thought well I read the monkey. I liked the mist better than the monkey, but the
yeah,
monkey was still creepy if you
yeah. It
look
was
at it that way.
yeah, it was more like suspenseful because you don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah, because all right, yeah. So we get into the monkey. Uh, I forgot when then that was. I have like pages of notes. I don't know why I even bothered because this is too many for me to read. But yeah, so there was this monkey, and in the book he had cymbals, and in the movie he had drums. He do the drums. So whenever he clashed the cymbals or banged the drums, then somebody was gonna die. You know, within the vicinity. Actually, yeah, in the book it was. Yeah, so it was this in the book it was it Hal and his I got the brother's name now. Uh,
Yeah, what were the brothers' names? Because he's the one that's talking all the time. So
Yeah, Hal is the
say
main
his
character.
name. Was it Dan?
I don't remember.
Dennis? Why am I? Maybe Dennis? I'm remembering a D.
Oh, oh, those were Hal's sons, Petey and
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, and Dennis. Well, I know Petey because Petey was in the movie, but yeah, it was
Bill
Hal,
and
Bill and Hal.
yep.
Yeah, so those are the brothers, and they didn't get along too well, and
No, he was mean.
yeah, Bill was the mean one. They were twins, and yeah, and Bill was like a little bit older. He was came out first, so he was a jerk and stuff, and I can't remember how they got the I don't know the story in the book. It's I don't know. It's hard to describe. Like it kept I get getting a little confused because it kept going back and forth for when Hal and Bill were kids, and then it would go to current day because Hal had in the book he had two kids. In the movie he only
Mm.
has
Mhm.
Petey
The
as his
one,
only
yeah,
son. Yeah, yeah. But yeah,
yeah.
and
The movie stayed with present day, or what I guess we would consider present day, but the book went back and forth, right?
yeah, the book went
Between
back and
memory,
forth.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. Well, in the movie, it started off in the past when Hal and Bill were kids. It kind of it went chronologically instead of going back and forth.
Hmm.
So,
I agree. It was a little hard to follow the narrative because it kind of jumped around. That and because things that were happening were not logical.
yeah,
He just
yeah,
kept reappearing in their lives like he was relentless, and that was kind of the real fear factor for me in that book is that no matter what you did with that to that damn monkey, he showed up again. He showed up in your closet. He showed up in your bed.
hmm
He was that frightening. That's a frightening idea to me. Like no matter how you try to get rid of this thing, it's going to come back and get you and kill somebody. So
hmm yeah, yeah. I
it.
think that's saying something too about like you have fears within you, and you can't get rid of them. Yeah.
I kept thinking a little bit about Christine, if you remember that
Mm,
book and movie where they
right.
kept, they tried to destroy the car and the car came back, and same concept here.
Hmm.
Possessed toy monkey, possessed dog and Cujo, just
yeah,
different, kind of the same thing, but just a different avenue or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, same thing with Jack and the Shining and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
possessions and stuff. So, yeah.
Did you pick up on anything? I didn't either through the movie or the book, how the monkey became possessed or whatever you want to call it.
No,
Like,
yeah.
was it? Uh, there's a scene in the movie at the beginning. Suzanne, you haven't seen the movie yet,
no,
so I'll ruin that for you too, with just like you did.
it's
No, I'm
okay.
just kidding. No, 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 no. But the opening scene is, I think that's the dad, right? In the opening scene of the movie, trying to get rid
Um,
of the monkey, or is it
it
just a
no, it was the no, it wasn't Hal and Bill's dad. It was the dad
okay,
of the guy that was towards the end with the
okay,
long
okay?
hair that was dressed
Yeah,
like a cop.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
It was his father. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But they don't give any explanation of why the monkey
Oh,
is.
how it got like that, yeah,
Yeah,
has
yeah,
some kind of curse. Yeah, yeah. It didn't show that was coming from some kind of island or some kind of something possessing it or something. There's no explanation. It just is.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, one fun fact about that. The they had to use the drum in the movies. They couldn't use the cymbals because the monkey with the cymbals, it's the rights are owned by Disney because I guess that kind
Really?
yeah, because I guess that
Well,
kind of
I was wondering
hmm
why wouldn't they keep the symbols? Because the symbol, the way they kept describing in the book that jangle, jangle,
jangle
jangle, jangle.
jangle.
That to
Yeah.
me, that sounded pretty scary, And I was like, is it going to be as scary with just like bang, 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 bang? But I guess if they had to,
On the audiobook they had the sound effect of
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah,
wow.
yeah. And
Okay.
Matthew Broderick, the version I had
Narrated
anyway,
that. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, he read the book.
Yeah, that's
That
one
Oh,
thing. That's one thing I
that
was gonna
part,
mention.
yeah,
Yeah.
that story, just that story.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because I read the electronic version of The Mist, and then it's like, oh, and I still time was running short, so then I went and put on the audiobook like on double speed so I could read along so I could focus. And yeah, yeah, that was so cool, Matthew Broderick, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, so yeah, so Disney owns the rights to that because I guess that type of a monkey that was in like Toy Story 3 or something. So Disney has the rights
Yes,
to that.
that's what
So
I would have guessed because it is kind of a vintage toy. I remember those from when I was a child.
yeah, yeah. So that's the reason for that. But yeah, it was no, yeah, it was creepy in the movie if you were scared of that for some reason. But
I think it's creepier if you don't get an explanation of where the heck the monkey came
Mhm.
from because he's just makes it that much harder to try and rationalize how he keeps reappearing because you didn't even know.
Yeah,
Oh well, it's the witch doctor from the South America or so. No, you don't know what the heck it is. It's just there,
yeah,
and then it was gone for 20 years and it's back
that's
again.
back.
That's
Hmm.
like nightmare material. Absolutely. It's like you were saying, your primal fears of never being able to escape the thing that is predatory against, that is following you.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a Stephen King theme though. Like it just leaves it to the imagination. Like how did this thing become what it is? Because like Christine or I mean I think we get an explanation like with Cujo.
Yeah,
I
the
think
rabies. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think he was
But
rabid.
even like Creep Show, if you remember that movie, there was also
Mhm.
several stories in that movie, but the crate is one that stands out for me if you
Mm.
remember the crate and you don't really have the origin of how this monster became who it is. And not to jump to the ending here, but in the crate they dump the creature into the water at the end, hoping that that takes care of it. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
anyway,
and
Yeah,
that's what he did to the monkey too,
yeah,
yeah, put it in
yeah,
the
right?
well. Yeah, yeah,
But at the end of the book, he went out onto the lake, into the deepest part of the lake,
the
yeah.
lake. Yeah,
and
yeah,
dumped him in there.
mhm,
So
yeah,
with so and so's like pickup truck was supposedly down there someplace, and
yeah.
Well, and Paul, I just looked up. It's done well at the box office,
Mhm.
so you may get a sequel out of this. Who knows? So
Yeah, yeah. Oh, this is like, yeah. I don't think we said it on here since we
we
started
haven't.
recording, but yeah, this is like one of the. This was so dumb. It's like a what do you call a dark comedy? It's like comedy, but
Hmm.
comedy if you
79% on Rotten Tomatoes.
holy shit. Well, I went to
So we need Caroline. Suzanne's not met Caroline yet, but we need her because she disputes almost every Rotten Tomatoes number. Although she's a big horror fan, so
yeah.
she may agree with that one. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, this was
I didn't think it was
so
that bad. I'm not a big horror
uh,
movie fan. I didn't think it was. I thought it was average.
I
yeah.
was kind of wondering how they would stretch it into like, well, how long is it a big 2 hour thing or
It's not it's like based on the book, so the stuff that happened in the book didn't happen in the movie. It's so
okay,
just so the character they even have yeah, like there's only one son and he's not married. I don't want to give too much away in the about the movie because it is new, but yeah, it's
okay,
definitely like the idea, the premise of it, and some of the characters are
mm,
the same, but it's like its own story based on that monkey,
okay.
basically.
The
I don't
Yeah,
trailer
know.
did look more involved than the
Mhm.
stories.
and there's a lot in the movie. I think they focus a lot on the relationship between the brothers.
Mhm.
Okay,
That's really sort of the premise of the movie because then they reunite later and you can still tell there's a lot of tension. So yeah, it's really on the brothers and then on the relationship with the son. That seems to be the main point of the plot.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
Besides, the monkey killing people. So,
yeah, yeah.
so
A lot of
can't
people.
forget that.
Toy
Yeah, a
was
lot of
always
people.
pretty darn
Oh,
creepy, though. Come on,
yeah.
whose idea was that?
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the monkey just looks creepy, and yeah, yeah, it's so creepy.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
they do the close-ups also in the
Mm.
movie. and that's even creepier. So,
Yeah,
and
the
don't it's
teeth.
what? Yeah, the teeth. That's what it was. The teeth, like right before something's going to happen, you see those teeth. So, yeah, that adds to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm not gonna give it away, but the deaths in there are like totally ridiculous and stupid and
Have you
comic booky.
have you seen a horror movie recently? I That's how they
Not,
are.
not, oh really? Yeah. No, I haven't seen
It's-
anything. I haven't seen anything like too recent, but yeah, but it's like comedic and you're not really invested. But I have because I wanted to see it before we recorded. So the first chance I got was like at 10 o'clock last night. I went to a 10 o'clock show last night, and there were a lot of teens in there, and they were all into it. So it's
oh
like
yeah.
I'm kind of making fun of it, but it's just because I'm not the audience for it. So you either have to be
Uh,
like. I think it's more of a teen thing. Like if I was a teen when this came out, I'd probably be loving this. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're
So I don't want
sa
to take like cheap shots at it because it's not for me.
no,
yeah, I think
same
it
thing.
is a thing, though. Yeah, to have
Yeah,
just
we were around
death.
it. I went with a friend and we were around a bunch of teenagers and I could hear their comments like, "Oh, that
Mm,
was awesome," or
yeah.
like after somebody got, whatever, brutally killed, they loved it. So, I don't know what that says about us, but um anyway, I guess my question, I don't know if either one of you have an opinion on this. And Suzanne, maybe you have some thoughts on it, but the story's 40 years old, and it just seems
Mm,
very unusual for them to, pull a story that, the movie industry to pull a story that old and make a movie out of it. So I don't know what prompted that, that a movie needed to be made today, but usually it's like a book comes out or a story comes out, and it seems like a few years later there's a movie on it. So I didn't know why the big gap of time. And I don't know, Paul, if you had read anything on that either.
um, yeah, I think they had actually tried doing it before, but then it was falling through. But I don't know what prompted it to go
I
through
would,
this time.
yeah, I
Or
would agree.
Monkey.
That's kind of an odd choice for somebody to go back to something from 40 years before, especially when it's just a short story. But, what the heck? At least they went back to something classic, like a Stephen King
Yeah.
story.
Hmm.
But who knows? Maybe somebody bought the rights to it 20 years ago, like you're saying, and tried to do it. And because they still own the rights, just finally got all their ducks in a row to get somebody to produce it. So
Hmm.
could be. And I have to wonder though if it doesn't really, like somebody else owns the actual image of the monkey, and the story seems to have and the killings seem to diverge a lot from the original plot. So I don't know how much of it is actually the monkey and how much of it is just like completely new anyway. So
Yeah.
what's the difference if you're using that source material? So,
Hmm.
but not having seen the whole thing, I can't really say how
Yeah.
inspired they were from by the original stories. So,
Yeah. Oh, I should also point out this was directed by Osgood Perkins, and he's Anthony Perkins' son.
Oh,
So
oh,
interesting.
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. I actually heard he was. I listened to this podcast, all of it, with Alison Stewart. She used to do MTV News in the '90s. She has a radio show out in New York, and then they air like portions of it as a podcast. And she had Osgood Perkins on. So yeah, maybe I'll yeah see if I can attach that to to the show notes and stuff of
Well,
this.
that's kind of neat.
Yeah. So um yeah, I just realized that Elijah Wood is in this too.
Yeah, for a brief period of time.
Yeah.
He's the therapist.
Yeah. And yeah, and Tatiana Maslany uh is their mother. And have I love her. Have you guys seen Orphan Black, this television show?
Mm-mm.
No,
Uh
I've heard good things about it, but I never got to watch it.
yeah, she's incredible in that. She plays so many. She's like a clone.
Like she's like 12 clones of herself,
Yeah,
and she
and
plays all different clones.
and they're all totally different characters, personalities, and she just pulls it off incredibly. Yeah, there's like the main one is British. I don't even think she's really British, but you wouldn't know that. She plays a Russian one, a soccer mom, and she has like all these totally different personalities. she might have won an Emmy, but she's incredible. And now she's in the She-Hulk for Marvel on the Disney on the
Oh,
television show
okay.
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
But
she's the one
but
that I. Mhm.
oh, go ahead, keep going. Sorry.
Oh yeah, she's probably the one that I knew the most, but I didn't realize that was Elijah Wood.
Did you pick up on the babysitter's name?
Um, no, I can't remember now. I did at the time. Now I can't remember.
Annie Wilkes?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I was probably I think I was the oldest person in the theater, and I'm like I'm probably the only person that knows what who Annie Wilkes is in another movie, so another book. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Wow. So maybe the director was just a Stephen King fan from way back and,
Mm,
you know, wanted
just
to pull one of the classic stories.
yeah,
yeah, yeah, and yeah, I guess he did a good job because it was based on this, obviously. So it's not like he was going scene by scene. So I think that might have been tougher to do with this because this one's shorter. This wasn't a 150-page novella. It's like a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
The I think the main crux of it was when he was trying to get rid of the monkey in the lake and he threw it in there in the water and then all of a sudden the boat started to fall apart while he's trying to get to shore to his son and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. And his son is screaming for him. And yeah, it was kind of
Yeah, so that
dramatic.
was intense. Yeah, yeah. So, and a lot of the stories in this, yeah, go back to the whole skeleton crew as a whole. A lot, that's what a lot of these stories seem like they're like Twilight Zone-ish. Like you get all this backstory, a little story and
Mhm.
everything, and then it just builds up to this, this climax that's like intense and stuff that I find in that with all these stories. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And he usually sticks to his kind of, small town by the lake in
Mm,
Maine type of that, and in fact, didn't the one with the shortcuts take place in Castle Rock?
yeah,
He
yeah.
he will keep going back he keeps going back to Castle Rock or references to Castle Rock. So
Hmm.
that was kind of neat. I thought that was a great story too.
Yeah.
Although like they took like 10 pages of talking about maps and how do you get from
Right.
here to there and it's all done in like this very effective Maine accent where you can hear them saying like you can't get there from here.
Oh, yeah.
But then once you finally got through, like I was like, are they really gonna take this, like describe the maps of Maine to be all the routes on the map for 10 or 15 pages? But then once you got into what was actually going on in the story, what I thought it was really cool. And then we're going through these strange, bogs worth of with weeds that were alive. And the woman in the store kept getting like younger and younger every time she did one of these routes and got there faster than it was actually physically possible to do.
Mhm.
So that was very imaginative and not exactly horror, but
No.
like
They're very Twilight
bizarre.
Zone-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, Twilight Zone, right? Speculative fiction, I think they might
Mm. Uh-huh.
call it maybe these days.
Yeah.
But that was cool too. And you didn't have to, read 150 pages. It
Yeah, yeah.
was only 40.
But yeah, yeah, a lot of these stories they seem to be either science fiction, some kind of suspense type of thing, more than horror, I think. But yeah, yeah. I don't know if there's anything else. Bob's already
just curious. While we're talking about Stephen King, do both of you have a favorite, either movie or book of his?
The Shining, I think, is like the best book ever written in the universe. So
I've
yeah.
not read it.
really,
Yeah.
I'll read it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
read
good.
anything from Stephen King, you should read that. But that was made me want to be a writer, I think,
Oh wow, yeah.
was The
Wow,
Shining.
that good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Is
well,
it is it different than the movie? I mean, obviously
It's
same.
very different from the movie. Yeah.
Okay.
The movie is a really good movie. It's not exactly the same as that. Like it's kind of almost sets itself apart as like a different entity with the same characters.
mhm.
But at the time, I think people are a lot more are a lot less tolerant of translations of their favorite material just taking off on in its own direction because the director wanted to do something different. I think a lot of tra- um, book to film adaptions are a lot closer because they don't want to piss off the fan base. But it wasn't like that back in 1980 or whenever it was. I think they came out in 1980.
Yeah, yeah, the
Um,
movie did. Hmm.
yeah, and Stanley Kubrick, I think, just went his own direction with a lot of the things that went
Hmm.
on.
Hmm.
Uh, but he created his own little masterpiece in his way,
Hmm.
as opposed to a different kind of um, intensity, or uh, the tension that would go on, the way that they drew you into The Shining. And it took a while for those characters to really face the fact that something supernatural and horrible was happening to them there. And by the time that they did, they were snowed in. And that was very intense. And that's not really what the movie was about. It was a more like, boo, crazy people, or attacking, crazy ghosts are attacking us. But that was eerie and had its own like really weird feeling to it also. So I don't really compare them as like apples to apples. It's weird. That's how I feel.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like with the monkey doll with it's like a kind of a different story, but same kind of idea. Some of the same characters, but the story's different. It's like
Hmm.
based on that basically, which is probably what pissed Stephen King off because the book was like incredible on its own. But
Yeah,
except for with The Shining, it was with class. The movie had a little more class than the monkey movie, but
that's true.
Yeah.
it's Stanley Kubrick. But it's the same type of thing. It was like based on that, and yeah, like Suzanne said, yeah, they're both great. So yeah, I highly recommend that book. Yeah,
What
and
about what about you?
the one that really hooked me, I really loved it because
Yeah.
I like the backstory. I love I've always loved coming of age stories, and like the first half of that book is when they're kids and coming of age and stuff, and with the horror and between and blended in there, and then yeah, then when they were adults. I still haven't seen the second half of the new movie thing that came out, but um yeah, but I really loved that book. I know a lot of people go to call The Stand their favorite, but yeah, I like The
It's a good book.
Shining.
That
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
good
it
book.
is really good. Yeah, but
I
yeah.
said I didn't read it. I stopped reading Stephen King after a while. I read all the early books and
Hmm.
then kind of dropped off because I kind of felt like him using the same kind of rural main settings and accents
Hmm.
and things. After a while, it felt a little played out to me. So I kind of moved on to other stuff in college that I had to read for for
Right.
grades and that kind of thing. So I
Yeah.
never read it. I heard that's pretty spectacular though, as far as horror goes. Because
Yeah.
actually, my mother, I stole The Shining from her. That was her book.
Hmm.
Like I was just like a 12-year-old, but she was this voracious reader and had like read everything that Stephen King ever wrote. And I think that's her
Hmm.
favorite too. Is it?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I did the same thing with my parents, but with Salem's Lot.
Yeah. Oh, Salem's Lot was really good.
That was
Salem's
just
Lot was really
intense.
good.
Yeah, that was scary. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, usually, yeah, books are scary and scary, but this one was like really well. Of course, I was like 10, I think, when I was reading it, so maybe that way
That's
that's
a
something
scary book.
that was scary.
That's a
Yeah,
really good vampire story. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that movie was good too, and that was a television movie. That
Right.
movie was really frightening,
Hmm.
really frightening. Once again, I was probably like 13 at that time too. So
And they remade it about a year ago, I want to say, and it's pretty good. The remake's good too.
Oh, really? Oh,
So yeah,
yeah.
I don't think I saw the remake, but
yeah.
that was kind of like, no, you can't top that other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was and the first one scared me. I think I was 9 when it came out, the
Mm.
movie, and yeah, it I still have nightmares about it,
Ooh,
I'm
yeah,
sure, but yeah, but
really.
the second or the remake was good, really good. I recommend it.
Hmm. Yeah. Suzanne, did you see the the Shining, the series that they did with like Steven Weber, I
Mm.
think was it Steven Weber that was
I
in that?
did, and yeah, if so, I did see that one with
That was more
Rebecca
aligned with the book.
Mornay also.
Hmm?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It was a lot closer to the book,
yeah.
but I don't know. But I still don't think it really grabbed you the way the book
No.
does. But
Hmm.
the story definitely followed the book a lot better.
Closer. Yeah. Yeah, that I felt the same way. Yeah, yeah. It followed it, but there was just something a little off
Yeah, it
about it. The book
wasn't
was still
like
better.
Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson's portrayal was kind of a different guy that was in the book, but it was
Hmm.
really intense and it was
Yeah.
far superior, I think, than watching that remake, even though the remake was more of the story that we knew when we read it. So,
Yep.
like I said, it's hard to compare them because it did such a great job at what it did, but just didn't do what Stephen King did. So,
Right.
but I kind of appreciated that they tried to redo it in a way that paid more tribute to the source material.
Hmm. What about you, Del? Was there any other books that
I
you?
Yeah, I was going to say it.
Mhm.
So basically for the same reasons you did, and it's one of the I think The Shining. I mean, the thing was growing up. I mean, it seemed like every Stephen King book was made into a movie, and most of the time they were not very good. But I
Mhm.
think The Shining is the exception. I think it, when they made it into the miniseries in the early '90s, I've gone back and watched that several times. I thought that was excellent. The movies that they just recently did, those were excellent as well. So, books great, movies are great. It's good story, suspenseful, scary. Um, so yeah, and the coming of age thing too, with we talked about Stand by Me earlier, just movies like that. I love those kind of
Yeah, that
movies.
was
So
excellent.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, when I was in that Stephen King book club, that was when I was getting. I loved the Green Mile, and that came in. What do you call it? It was like you got. I forgot how many books it was. It might have been a series of books, like 6 books or something like that. Um, yeah, it was a bunch of short books. It wasn't all one big book, but he published sections separately. So every month there was a new book about the Green Mile. But
Hmm,
I
okay.
loved that, and yeah, the
You know
movie
what?
was.
Why is it that the movies that are really good that are associated with Stephen King, we don't find out that they're really Stephen King associated until like years later. So like
Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption and Stand by Me and Green Mile, but the bad ones we know right away that they're Stephen King novels. I don't, is it
That's
just
a good
me or is
question.
that I don't know because I didn't
Well,
know like Shawshank Redemption. I didn't know that that was a story that he had written and Green Mile as well. So
well, I knew about the Green Mile because of that. Yeah, serial. It was like a serial thing. So it was, yeah, 6 volumes. So yeah, it's like 6 different books that I get. There were the short paperback
yeah,
books. So I did know that was him because I got those. But like Stand by Me, what was it called? The
I,
Body, and one of the. It's not even the same
Yeah.
name.
yeah. But I don't think when I saw the movie that I realized that
No,
this
me
was
neither.
no. But and years later found out. But
Mhm.
maybe I just wasn't paying attention. But anyway, but like Pet Cemetery. I haven't read the book. I'm sure it's a great book. Not a great movie.
No.
I
Mm-mm.
don't. I think Christine, not a great movie. Cujo. So, Carrie is maybe an exception, but
Carrie was a good
anyway,
movie. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah. So I don't know. Just seems like the really good. Almost Oscar winning, and I guess in some cases Oscar winning movies. Um, didn't know at the time that Stephen King was associated with it.
Mhm.
Just a
Yeah.
thought.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, maybe it was just somebody's like labor of love to take one of the less
Mhm.
well-known popular properties out there that maybe they read when they were younger and make it into this wonderful piece of film as opposed to cranking out the big studio hit. Maybe there's something to that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, where
because they're
it
good too. So
yeah.
the stars that they pick, yeah. Oh yes, that Cujo, that reminds me too that it was like the reversal of the Mist, where the ending in Cujo was worse than the movie. So.
Ah,
I don't know. Well,
no.
I don't know the ending in the book.
Ending.
Uh,
Oh, wait. Yes, I do. All right. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a parallel type thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
the movie had a happier but
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I remember now. Yeah,
So,
that was killer.
so a question on the book club. Did you quit or did it just end?
um yeah, I think I stopped it because then I graduated college and I was working full time and stuff, and yeah, I just kind of like fell away from it.
Okay.
So I
Because
don't know if
things
it's
that,
still around.
yeah,
Uh,
things don't like that don't exist really. I mean, I wouldn't think, but
yeah,
maybe
this
they
is
do.
before. Yeah, this is before all online stuff and everything. Yeah, but yeah, but he's
Yeah, well,
definitely
now you
one.
can jump on Kindle and get anything you want, so you don't really have to join a book club, but
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, can own it all on one device. But yeah, especially back in the, especially he's one that you could do that with because he has so many books written. Yeah.
yeah, that he could have his own book club. It's true. There wasn't that many authors who were quite that prolific, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Um, oh, I never saw one thing I haven't seen or read all of his is the Dark Tower series. So,
No.
yeah, I've heard that the movie that just came out recently was pretty good. So, yeah. So I'm curious about that. It's more of a fantasy. It's totally different from what he usually does. So,
Mr. Mercedes was a trilogy, I think, trilogy series for him. And they also turned it into a TV series, and the TV series is really good. So if you're looking for something to watch, it's older. I think it's 5 or 6 years old now, but that was really good.
yeah. Yeah, I'd like to get into it because isn't there's a character now that that's who is she a female cop that he just did a novel with her name, I think. Let me see. Uh,
I just looked, and there is a Stephen King book club that meets on Zoom
Hmm.
once a month.
oh, no
Wow.
So
way.
you could join that. Yeah, if it's still valid, I don't know, but it's at bookclubs.com. Join a book club. What it says.
Huh.
We've
Um,
got our own book club. We don't need any other book clubs.
see,
Yeah, yeah, we
yeah,
are a book
barely
club.
have enough time as it is. Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
We'll
how,
just quit our jobs and just read all the time. Yeah.
What a nice world that would be, huh?
Mm.
yeah, if they do it once a month, geez, would they read The Stand in 1 month? I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, that was another 600 pager. Okay.
It might have been
That's
even longer than that.
it's such a deterrent for me. It's just like if I see a huge book, like even if it's great, like I don't have time to read this.
Uh-huh.
But so that's probably why I haven't read a lot of his stuff is just because of the length of it.
Yeah. Oh, Holly's the one that I'm thinking of. That one just came out. It's a character. She was in her first appearance was in Mr. Mercedes. And she was in Finders Keepers, End of Watch,
Oh yeah, I've seen
The
that. I've
Outsider.
seen that book out.
Yeah, because I read If It Bleeds. That's another short story collection that's incredible. So that I think that might be his more recent one. And that was great. So I like all the stories in that. So yeah, he's still knocking them out. He had a little downturn for a little bit when he was almost killed, getting hit with the car. But
Yikes, yeah.
yeah,
But what the heck? There's still 400 pages worth of stories left in this
yeah, just for this one alone, no kidding.
and
Yeah.
Skeleton Crew. If I get bored, I can read one or two of those. You know?
Wow, I think this has been one of our longest episodes
Yeah, I
so far.
guess so, you know?
Two
With the
short
juicy good
stories and
stories.
crew.
Suzanne's usually rushing us about 8:15. She's like, let's wrap this up. Come on, let's go. So we were just
Yeah,
having too much fun tonight.
yeah, yeah. It does. Show's almost over too. Jeez.
Yeah, I've actually, yeah, I've been piping in between songs over here. You haven't seen me, but I've been talking over. No, Paul sent me a text this morning. He's listening a little bit this weekend, but the Academy Awards are on right now. I've got them on in the background, but we've been doing movie soundtrack music all weekend, so it's been fun. I
Mhm.
probably my favorite weekend of every year is to do this, just because and I always it's just overwhelming how much movie music there was in the
Mhm.
80s. So, and I
Oh,
still
absolutely. It was
probably
a
had,
big selling tool for movies.
oh yeah, I probably had 50 or 60 songs that I could have picked from if I wanted to, but
Mhm.
yeah, so anyway. So yeah, my show's about half over now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, I guess before we wrap up, we'll announce this month's book coming March that we just decided now. It's
Still
the
plenty of
most
time to read.
yeah. Oh shoot, I didn't look to see how many pages it is. Well, it's a memoir, so it shouldn't be too. Oh
Yeah,
geez, it's three. All right, 304 pages. Sorry, I might have to listen to this on double time.
I gotta start now.
It's the most it might be fast read though. It's the most beautiful. My Life with Prince by oh, can you say her name again? Maite
Yep.
Garcia.
Yep.
So it was Maite Garcia. It's Mayte, and apparently I had never heard of her before, but she was Prince's first wife. So yeah, in the most beautiful, the title's inspired by the hit song Prince wrote about their legendary love story. So
Uh-huh.
she shares a story. So
Hmm.
can't go wrong with Prince. Get a little behind the scenes there. So yeah, it should
Yeah,
be
it
very
should be
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So looking forward to that. Um, all right, so we can wrap things up. All right, and we were just plugging you. So, Del, you want to get more details? You want to tell everybody where they can find you?
Sure. On you can download the WEDM app, or we're on the Radio Deck app. Also, you can just search for WEDM. It's the 80s at 8 on 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday and Sunday. And we're going to be on for another week or two, and then we'll take a couple week break and then back on for a little while longer. So should
Mhm.
be good. 4 hours of the 80s every weekend.
Yep. Yep. So awesome. Great show. I
Yeah.
love it so much. Yep. Yep.
Thank
I was
you.
finally able to catch some this morning. Not this morning. Yeah. Well, this morning, yesterday morning too. And some songs that I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the Howard Jones song. I was going to tell Suzanne, we got to see Howard Jones and ABC here
Oh, cool.
about I think last weekend, and it was ABC was great. I absolutely loved Howard Jones. I wasn't sure, what to
I love
expect,
Howard
but
Jones. Yeah.
yes, he put on such a great show, and a lot of audience participation, and it was just a lot of fun, a lot of fun. And I found on Apple Music, I found a concert that he did maybe about 2 years ago, 23, 24, and it's basically like I'm reliving the concert all over again by listening to this. So
Mhm.
it was a really really good show. So but and
Yeah.
um, yeah, and
Love
he he
Howard
played
Jones.
he played Things Can Only Get Better, and let's hope he's right. So and that's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
I'm
he came out
and
with
that's all
a
I'm going to say about that. So
mhm. Yeah. Well, he came out with what they called a fanthology a couple years ago, where they asked for like anecdotes and stuff from fans, and I actually have an essay in there.
oh
And
wow. Okay.
yeah, so that was kind of cool because he was one of my faves back in the day. And I
Yeah.
saw him back in like 1990 or 91, I think it was.
Yeah.
So
Well, I've listened to him, but it's not been, I wouldn't put him in like my top list, but it reminded me, while I'm at the concert, like how good he really was. So he's moved up quite a bit just since that concert for me. I was going to mention also, I don't know if you know who Richard Blade is. He's
yeah.
okay. So he's got a history of being in radio, but now he's on Sirius XM on First Wave, and he was sort of the MC slash DJ for the show. So he
Oh,
came out and he did a Q&A for the first hour, and
oh,
like he's rattling off all of these like band members names, stories, talking about Depeche Mode and Duran Duran and um, New Order, all of these groups. And I mean, he was done after an hour, and of course ABC had to get going with the show. But I'm like, can he just talk for another 2 or 3 hours? Like I'm just eating all of this
Amusing
up.
with Howard
So
Jones.
yeah, yeah. So
Excellent.
yeah, but it was great, just a great show. And Richard Blade actually wrote a book here recently, so something to think about, maybe
Mm,
potentially.
mm.
So
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I do recall him plugging a book recently.
yeah. So yeah, sorry to
Cool.
go on and on about that, but I wanted
No,
to
that's
let you know
great.
what a great show it was.
He still sounds the same and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's still the high
That's amazing.
notes. He's pretty close on those high notes. I was I
Mhm.
was I was surprised, but he's maybe down just a little bit on the octaves, but he's still got it.
Well, that's great. It's good to
Yep.
hear. Yeah. Oh, oh, Suzanne, plug your book. Anything else you got going on?
Yes. Well, let's see. Actually, I just got notified that I'm going to have a poem in an anthology that is based on like all poems about the Stevie Nicks and aesthetic, I guess. So that's kind of neat. It's called
Oh,
White Winged Doves.
ah,
It's probably not coming out. They are setting the whole timetable and stuff, but
mhm.
that's probably going to be a 2026. But that's kind of neat from Madville Press. So
Oh, that's so
that's
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got a short story collection that I'm putting together. So we'll see how things go with that.
Oh,
So
awesome.
I've got some, but yeah, you can take a look at Once in a Lifetime at SuzanneMattaboni.com. It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble, or there's a in a Lifetime novel.com website also. If anybody's looking for that, women's fiction set in the 80s and it's fun stuff.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome book and one that we covered on here. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's exciting. You got more stuff coming up. Can't wait. Yeah, definitely dive into that. That sounds good with that Stevie Nicks. So yeah. Oh, that'll be something
yeah,
else that we
real
can
cool
cover on
idea.
here. Yeah,
Ooh,
I
that'd
like
be
it.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make some friends there. We'll get some multiple authors on here at once, right?
No problem. Seriously. No, seriously, I'll work it out.
Yeah, yeah. Get Stevie's phone number and yeah.
Oh, okay. You never know where things are gonna lead.
Yeah. All right. And then you can find me at Gen X Journeys. The website's genxjourneys.net. And this podcast, if you watch on YouTube, I have the podcast, Gen X Journeys. And I'll post the audio version of this on Wednesday. And I do Throwback Thursdays. Lately, I've been reposting old Return of the 80s episodes that you might have missed. And then once I'm done with those, and I'll probably record some new episodes, like maybe monthly, return the well, we'll do Gen X, but new episodes that'll be on there about our generation. So, and then I have Power Surge Fridays where I have just a really short mini episode about inspiring stories. And I'm on Gen X Journeys on Instagram and Facebook, and I've been really active on there, posting a daily quote inspiring us, our awesome generation. And I've been posting, right now we're in 1985, so I'm doing 40 albums and 40 films from 1985, so I'll post one daily. We just did Howard Jones a few days ago, speaking of him, so yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
It was a good year.
Yeah, yeah. I had a really tough time narrowing it down, so yeah. So yeah, that's been a blast doing that, and I'm gonna so then I'll do so it's 85, and the next one will be 90, so I'll do 35 songs from 90. So then we'll see from there. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So and I'm also on TikTok. I've been getting active, posting these things, the quotes and the movies and albums on TikTok too, and I've been a lot of people are starting to follow me there. So yeah, come join me over there too as well. So and I want to thank everybody so much. And if you have any suggestions for books, we're always open for suggestions. So I'm not picking the last minute, like 5 minutes before we start recording. It's an easy email address. It's paul@genxjourneys.net. So yeah, you can send me some emails or, tag me in social. So yeah, I want to thank everybody so much for listening and joining us on this ride. Just gonna keep getting better from here. So, all right, and thank you guys so much for coming here too, Suzanne and Adele. And we'll see
Thank
you all
you.
next time.
See ya.